What's going on, everyone? So, Rui Hachimura is expected to be a real key piece for the Lakers this season and for the foreseeable future, right? This is a guy that can be an absolute bucket for the Lakers. He's already proven that. And we saw the progress that he made when we first got him working with Phil Handy, him actually being very good defensively for us, right? Not so much out on the perimeter. He still kind of struggles against some of the twitchier wings, defending out on the perimeter, but he's great against just bigger guys. We saw what he did against like Karl Anthony Towns. We saw what he did against Jokic, even giving him some trouble. Again, you're never going to stop those guys, but can you make it tough? Can you make it difficult? And that's something Rui's really been able to do. And with his just arsenal and his ability to just be absolute money and butter from mid-range it's wonderful to see, right? Especially in the playoffs when that shot is so open. It's one of the reasons he's able to have such success. I mean, it also helps that he shoots like 50% from three in the playoffs, both with the Wizards and us, but also that mid-range when, teams are packing the paint more and trying to, keep easy buckets and then also trying to close out harder on the outside, the three-point shot. That becomes more of an emphasis in the playoffs as opposed to the regular season. That mid-range, you usually see a lot of guys have a lot of success. That's why usually the higher scoring guys in playoffs are guys that can knock down the mid-range shot. Rui is a master of that. There's a lot of talk about, is Rui going to start? Is he coming off the bench? Personally, I like the idea of him coming off the bench, him kind of being one of the, if not the main scoring option off the bench. I think he has the potential and the skill set to be a sixth man type player. This is a guy that I have concerns in the starting unit because he is so versatile offensively that my fear is that he kind of just becomes what Jared Vanderbilt was in the starting unit, which is basically just a corner spot up 3-point shooter that is meant to play defense and knock down the open three, which we've seen him be able to do that, but that's not his skill set. That's not what he's best at. And I'm not saying you have to run your offense entirely through Rui Hachimura, but it would be nice to run some sets, call his number from time to time, put him on the block, let him go to work, or just dump the ball off to him and let him just go make a play, whatever, right? I'd really love to see that, and I think he'd be able to do that more with the bench unit as opposed to the starting unit. He really blossomed for us in that playoff series or playoff run period. And I'm hoping that that continues to translate into this upcoming season, right? He had success with the Washington Wizards in the playoffs, but he was never able to really translate that same level of success into the regular season. And look, his numbers during the playoffs are just unsustainable over the course of an entire season. But can he be, instead of like 30% from three, be 35 to 36%, which is basically league average? I'm not asking him for doing anything crazy, but because he's so good in that mid-range, I really hope the Lakers and Darvin Ham put him in a position for success. We've seen him, arguably more than anybody, working like an absolute madman this offseason. Just grinding, working hard. He was in Japan with Jared Vanderbilt and Phil Handy. We've already seen what Phil Handy was able to do with Rui in such a short period of time, as far as going from, his little shot that he had that was kind of had that little hitch in it, completely being removed. And then also him slimming down a bit, which could have its pros, could have its cons. My concern with that is one of his advantages is his size and strength, and him being kind of this burly guy that can use his strength to defend bigger players, which now, if he's slimmed down a lot, may end up getting taken away. And is he able to, by slimming down, have better lateral movement, lateral quickness, to where he can defend some of the twitchier wings out on the perimeter? Which, if he can, then great, then that's perfect, right? Then I'm totally okay with Rui slimming down. But if he still struggles in that department, and now he's not strong enough because he doesn't have the weight behind him to defend some of those bigger guys, then he may end up becoming a defensive liability. That's a real concern of mine. But in the same breath, him kind of slimming down could make him a little more craftier, make it easier maybe to kind of blow by players and kind of get to the spots that he wants to easily. We'll see. Time will tell. We'll see how that translates this season. But I've talked about him a lot being the future for the Lakers and kind of LeBron's replacement. I believe he's the guy that's going to take over the mantle for LeBron James whenever LeBron, whether he leaves and goes plays with the Sun, he retires, whatever ends up happening with LeBron James, I truly believe that Rui is going to be the guy that takes that next step for Lakers Nation. And it looks like he's been working all offseason with LeBron James. So we got reports that watching Rui come here after the trade felt like a personal renaissance for him. He came alive as a player again. He spent most of his time training with LeBron this offseason. That was intentional, Rob Pelinka said. Also followed up Darvin Ham. Rob Pelinka confirmed reports that Rui Hachimura has been working out with LeBron all summer. Bron calls him his understudy, Darvin Ham said. This is beautiful. We got images of him working out with LeBron James. I love that Rui is showing the work ethic. I love that Rui is showing the commitment to the game of basketball. I love that he's showing the commitment to improving and becoming a better player. And I love the commitment to learning from arguably, if not the best player to ever play the game. Again, if Rui really is going to be the LeBron replacement at some point, whenever that is, then we're going to need him to learn and take as much from LeBron James as humanly possible, right? Like to have LeBron be his sort of mentor and be his guide and help him understand and see the game maybe a little differently. That could go a very long way for Rui. We know Rui can score the basketball, but can he see the floor and make the plays and do certain things that LeBron does for this team? Now, obviously, you're never going to replace LeBron. Like Rui, when I talk about him being the LeBron replacement, I don't mean that, he's going to end up being the best player ever or anything like that. No, I just think he's going to be the guy that fills in, very likely that starting power forward position or maybe the small forward position, whatever. We'll see how that goes. Time will tell. But he's very likely going to be the guy that ends up getting the bigger role and steps into being that key piece and foundation for the Lakers going forward. And that's another reason why I really want to see the Lakers put him in a position to have success this season and actually call his number and run some plays. Because if his job for the Lakers is just to be a corner spot up three-point guy, and all he's doing is just working on a spot up three-point shots, and he's basically changing and working his game to fit that style of play, and then LeBron leaves, and it's like, okay, Rui, it's your turn. There you go. Now we need you to be, the number 1, 2, or 3 scoring option, and we need you to be this guy, and we need you to be this star, and all that stuff. And it's like, dude, the last 3 years or whatever, 4 years, I've been just practicing and working on my game to fit a complementary, three-point threat. And now I have to rework my game and kind of figure this out because my entire career with you guys has been this specific role, and now you want me to change my role entirely, right? And look, it doesn't mean that he can't, but it's just, you work out when you're not the star, right? You're working and learning and developing things to keep you on the basketball court. You're learning, developing, and growing things to make you a valuable asset to play as many minutes as humanly possible alongside these stars, right? You have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If the Lakers want Rui to basically be just a 3-and-D guy, then that's what he's going to develop into, such as slimming down to basically be able to play out on the perimeter more, working on his three-point shot. And those are good tools to have, right? If he can be a better perimeter defender, that's great. If he can be a better three-point shooter, that's great. But then to go from that to okay, well, now we want you to play the 4 more again when you've been playing the 3 the last few years. We want you to bulk up again. It's like, well, what have I been doing? Right? And again, I love that he is willing to do whatever it takes for this team. And I do believe that there has been this kind of renaissance for him. And I do believe that he was underutilized and undervalued with the Washington Wizards. And I think he has the potential to be huge for the Los Angeles Lakers for not only this year, but for the foreseeable future. I need to see them actually utilize him, right? Because again, you can't say, oh, well, the Wizards underutilized him and he had this renaissance with us and he was rejuvenated, and then you don't capitalize on that rejuvenation, right? Like, then it just kind of becomes silly and redundant. And I don't want to see that be the case for Rui. I want to see him thrive. I'll give it a little bit of a pass last year because, he came in, started off, he was rough for us, fell out of the rotation. Rui Hachimura even credited him falling out of the rotation as a real motivator for him, and thanked Darvin Ham for giving him the opportunity to get back into the rotation, right? And we saw him improve. We saw him get better, which I absolutely love to see. But it's more than just that, right? Like, the Lakers need to put him in a driver's seat from time to time, because last season, again, he was kind of thrown to the fire. You're kind of trying to figure stuff out. It's a little chaotic. You're trying to, okay, like, what are we doing here, right? Like, we want to get the ball into LeBron's hands. We want to get the ball in AD's hands. Every game is dire. Every game is basically a game 7 for us. We're just in this like deep, dreaded hole. So it's like as much as we would love to, we can't really give, Rui all these shot attempts and to play this role and this, that, and the other. Okay, I get that, right? I get that entirely. Well, now this season, you're not in that hole. It's a completely different situation, completely different environment. Utilize him. Allow Rui to thrive. LeBron James is taking him under his wing. He is working diligently on being and taking that next step. Allow him to show you and improve that. Again, if he's just going to be a spot-up corner three-point shooter, you might as well give Jared Vanderbilt all the minutes, because Jared Vanderbilt has been working on his three-point shot. If he can even develop anything close to a respectable three-point shot, he's the better defender. Even if Rui takes tremendous strides defensively, Jared Vanderbilt will still be the better defensive guy. So no matter what, if you're not going to utilize him on the offensive side, then you need to have Jared Vanderbilt play that role. Let Jared Vanderbilt be that guy, right? Again, not saying that they have to, every possession, you got to give Rui the ball, let him make the plays, let him go to work, whatever. No, I'm not saying that. I don't think it needs to be like that, right? But I do think that they need to, from time to time, allow him to kind of just go. Here's the ball, buddy. Go make something happen. Right? Especially when our offense is stagnant. Like, there was so many times last year, and if you were watching like some of the live streams and stuff, the watch along games and stuff, like, you saw me scream, like, put Rui on the block, give him the ball. Let him go make a play. The guy can absolutely create his own shot. He's got a mismatch. Put in the work. How many times did he establish position down low and they just looked him off? It's like, no, give him the ball. So I'm hoping that that's not the case this season. I'm hoping that they actually make an effort to give the man the basketball, right? But time will tell. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Somewhere in between? However you feel, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.